Hello, fellow aviation buffs. I invite you to join me on this adventure as I set out to become a pilot, as I go from being an aviation enthusiast to becoming a pilot to getting my endorsements and my ratings and all the fun times in between. So come join me. Let's share our passion for aviation together. Are you ready?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Prudent Pilot, where I teach you how to go about attaining your aviation goals without spending a massive amount of money, and better yet, without getting into a ridiculous amount of debt. Okay, so in this video, I want to cover how you should go about selecting the proper flight school, the proper CFI, and the proper training aircraft, and other important details. Okay, because it's all about saving that ka-ching, man. So let's get into it.
All right, guys, so let's get into this. I look a little bit different, huh, from the scruffiness and the little intro there because I shaved and got myself looking decent now. So, one caveat here: I may have to do this in probably 2 videos, maybe 3. There's a lot of information that I want to share with you, and I don't want to do it all in one video because, number one, it'll make for a very extremely long video, and I don't want to bore you to tears. I will lose your attention, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed with data and stuff like that. I want to give it to you in little, bite-sized chunks, if you will, something feasible that you can sit and go through and check out links and whatnot that I will share and all that other good stuff. There is a lot of information. I don't want to skimp on the information either. So I want to give it to you, all to you, and I have to organize myself because I have to keep it concise. And for those who know me, know that I, talking to me because I read so much and learn so much, and I love to share everything that I learn. It's like taking a drink from a fire hydrant when you talk to me and I try to teach. So I need to try to control that. And I want to do this right for your benefit, for those of you who are watching or thinking about a career in aviation, so you can learn how to do this on the cheap tip, as cheaply as possible, because aviation is not cheap. It's very expensive, but it can be done. So that's why that's the way I'm doing it. So I'm sharing with you as I go along what I have been doing and what I will continue to do and how to do it and what I'm using and what I will use. And I will share with you the advice that I have received from talking to CFIs, to flight school directors, people that have been in aviation for a very, very long time. And I will cover financing and all that good stuff. Excuse me. And that's why I'm doing it, because it is so expensive that it's just like out of reach for most people, and perhaps you're thinking about doing it and you're giving up, or you thought about it in the past and gave up on it. Don't. Get back into it. Man, in my first video I mentioned that I was 52. I am now 53. I just turned 53. Had a birthday since then. But it's doable, man. It is doable. There's people in their 60s and 70s that are getting their certificate, Now, getting back to the reason for me doing this, why the channel is called The Prudent Pilot, as in being thrifty and cheap, because that's me. I don't have that kind of money, and there's a lot of people out there that are on the same boat as me. I know that I'm not the only one. I know that I am so broke that I got to fart 10 times to get a cent, literally. You come to my house, you see my welcome mat, it says, well, but anyway, enough of the shenanigans. So, whether you want to get into a career in aviation, or you want to do it for fun, for once in a while, just for the freedom to go out and fly, and it's amazing, it's awesome. Maybe some of you have had a little taste of it before, maybe you haven't, been dreaming about it, whatnot. That's awesome. This channel is definitely for you. Okay, whether you want to do it to become one of these, or you want to do it to become, to just do something like this, without having to do that or that, and end up looking like that, then definitely this is a channel for you. Okay, so the first thing I want to explain to you is, do this slowly. It takes time. Be patient. Patient is not a virtue that I have. The Lord has dealt with me big time on this in every area of life, because I'm very impatient. I'm very impulsive. I used to be very impulsive and very impatient. But with this, you have to get out of that microwave mentality, that I want it and I want it yesterday. Can't do it. Can't do it like that. I learned the hard way that life is not one big Burger King. I can't have it my way, unfortunately. So aviation, same thing. You can do self-study. You can get the materials, which I am going to share with you in following videos after I get done with this little series, whether it's one video or 2 or 3. Then I will be sharing the books and the materials that I've used and what I recommend for you to use. And there's a ton of them out there, so you can just pick whatever you want. But it's very important for you to do self-study, okay? There's a lot of reasons for that. One is because when you go there, and a lot of CFIs will tell you the same thing, to get the ground school out of the way, and a lot of them have their own ground schools, and I'll be sharing those because I don't know who's going to be watching this, so maybe they'll be in your area and you can go through theirs, or what. It doesn't matter where you are. I mean, it's online, so you can do it from wherever. But I'll show you what I've shared. The importance of it, getting back to that, the importance of ground school, you get it out of the way, you get all the knowledge, as much knowledge as you can get, because by the time you get to the flight school, which we're going to get to here in a minute, by the time you get there, you have all that knowledge. You have taken and passed, hopefully, Lord willing, you have taken and passed your FAA knowledge test. Check mark, you get that out the way. And then now that's less time that you have to spend with a CFI, which is costing you big money. You're still going to have to go through ground school. Some of it, because they still have to sit down with you and test your knowledge and explain stuff to you and blah, blah, blah. But if you show that you already know this, then hello, then there's more time for flying, and it's less time for you to spend in ground school, which means less money that you have to spend. A lot of these flight schools, I've done a lot of research, at least in my area, and anywhere from $208 an hour to about the lowest, perhaps, and that's if they give me a military discount because I'm a veteran. And trust me, I would say like 11 out of 10 schools do not offer a military discount. One of them had it on their website, and I had to actually explain to the gentleman on the phone, hey, it's on your website, do you not honor it? And he mentioned something about maybe giving me a $10 off per hour, which is still cheaper, but it's still from $208 an hour to possibly the lowest one with that military discount, quote unquote, if I do get it, would be like $175 an hour. So that's still a lot of money. This is not cheap by any means. But like I said, you do the ground school first, you get in there, you save a lot of money, and you get your knowledge, your FAA knowledge test out of the way. Just keep in mind though that once you pass that test, you go take it and pass it, you have exactly 2 years from the date that you pass that test to go through flight school, do your first solo, and then do your oral exam and your check ride. Exactly 2 years. If that expires before then guess what, bub? You got to go back and take the knowledge test again. Before you can do your first solo, a lot of flight schools and or CFIs will require you, because this is FAA regulations, you have to have at least a minimum of 40 hours of flight time. However, I've seen it. I've met people that have done it in less than that, 35 hours or so. Don't get your hopes up. It doesn't mean that they're going to give you a break, because you learn a lot and you're good, and you build yourself a flight simulator at home, which I'm doing here. But you know that's great because you get practice, and that's what you want. You want to have practice. It will help you out greatly, but that really depends on the CFI. He or she will be the one to decide, hey, this guy or gal is ready. Let's get you do your first solo. And then from there, so on and so forth. Then you'll learn all this as you go along. But just letting you know that that's how that works, and that's how that helps you. Also, selecting the right flight school. Shop around. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of different little airports, regional airports. They all have FBOs, which is a fixed base operator, okay? Which would be kind of sort of like this is a clumsy analogy, but kind of sort of like how all airports have car rentals. Well, they have FBOs, fixed base operators, okay? So, and those usually have at least one flight school. You want to check with them their hourly rates, because you're going to pay hourly rates for the aircraft and for the CFI. Also check what kind of ground school materials they use, because some of them will use something like by Cessna. They'll use the Cessna ground school materials, and they give you this cool little backpack with all this stuff in it, your plotter and your E6B and whatever else. And I'll show you in future videos here very shortly, coming after this series, hopefully, what I've bought. And I bought them individually. I don't need the fancy bag. I don't need none of that stuff. Okay, so that depends. That's on you. It's your taste, whatever you prefer to do. So just check all those things. Start getting numbers together. That way you can figure it out. Also, you want to check what kind of fleet they have as far as aircraft, because here's the kicker. You're going to have CFIs that will probably not necessarily be like persistent, but they would rather teach you because they're already CFIs. They know what they're doing. You know, they obviously love aviation, but you know, they're going to have. They might try to convince you or try to sell you on using like an all glass cockpit, you know, which look really cool. Trust me, I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I see that kind of stuff. Like, ooh, wow, electronics. It looks super cool, but beware, because that costs more money. So first of all, you're better off learning with what they call the old steam gauges, which is the analog ones, you know, with the needles. That's better because that way you can track and follow. And when the instructor, when the CFI is telling you, like, check this, check your airspeed, look at your OBS, like if you're doing intercepting VRs or whatever, your vertical speed indicator, you know, how fast are you descending or ascending, all those things. It's better when you're looking at analog, you know, which is the regular steam gauges with the needle. And then you will transition eventually into a glass cockpit, which is the electronic one, also known as an EFIS, electronic flight instrument system. So that's why it's more expensive. Also, what size of aircraft do they have, and what can you get in? This depends mainly on first of all, your budget, because your budget, like mine, my budget says Cessna 150, which is like a small little trainer. I'm good with that, you know. I don't need to get the fancy 172 or 182 with all glass cockpit. Nah, man, give me the 150, the Cessna 150 with seam gauges. I'm good. And for example, some of them have, like out here, you have Cessna 150, a 162, which is a Skycatcher, which is plenty. It's just a two-seater, and the Skycatcher is a stick as opposed to a yoke. The 150 has the yoke. That's why I prefer that one. I prefer learning that. I mean, stick is cool, but I'd rather do the yoke. So, and they also have 172s, which is a little bit up higher. And let me give you an example on the price ranges. This is from one of the cheaper, lower end, financially speaking, flight schools in my area. The 150 would rent for like $99 an hour, and the CFI would run me about $55 an hour, as opposed to the other school, like one other school that I had checked. I've checked several of them, but one of them was like, that's the higher up one, higher end, all glass cockpit stuff, and that would run like anywhere from, I think, a little over $100 for the cheapest one, which I think it was a Skycatcher, and the other ones, of course, go higher than that, 150, 170, whatever, something like that, 125, 150 an hour, to also $58 an hour for the instructor, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty expensive. So you look at those, you compare those prices, Cessna 150 as opposed to a Cessna 172, and if they have Piper, some of them have Piper, have a combination of them. So in the Piper series, you might have a Piper Arrow or a Piper Archer. You want to choose, if they have a Piper Cherokee, which is a 140. A Piper 140 Cherokee is a little bit smaller, so the cheaper the better. Because look at it this way: when you go get your driver's license, if you already have one, or if you're going to go get one, whatever, are you going to go out and either rent or buy I don't know, the latest model of Mercedes-Benz or a Ferrari or BMW or something like that, just so you can go take your test in style? No. You can go in anybody's little hoopty in a little beater, right? Because you just want to get your license. Same thing with aviation. You want to go, you just want to learn how to fly. You just want to get that certification, that license, your pilot's license. So the cheaper, the better. Once you have your license, then eventually you work up, and then hopefully you'll be flying bigger planes, nicer planes, you know, more modern or whatever, and it doesn't matter. The bottom line is that you want to get your license and you want to keep this as cheap as possible. So keep it cheap. You don't need the fancy bags and stuff like that. You can use any bag to carry your stuff in. You know, just cut costs wherever you can. Also, the more prepared you are when you get there, man, study everything you can. Go online. I'll be sharing all these videos with you. Not videos, but the links to YouTubers. Of course, I'll be sharing my videos with you, but you know what I mean. I'll be including links to all these other YouTubers that I follow, which A lot of them are CFIs, some of them are not, but some of them are commercial pilots, and they do flying stuff, and it'll keep you motivated, inspired. It'll make you want it more, so you don't quit, you don't burn yourself out. Set yourself a schedule, and man, just devour everything you can. Get the books, read them, watch the videos, learn from these guys. Practice every day. That's what I do, and I keep taking practice tests and stuff like that. I was doing it every day for a while. Now, since I've gotten into these videos, now this, I don't have that kind of time, but I still practice, every other day or so or whatever, and just to keep myself fresh, because you're going to want to do that. Okay, just keep in mind that once you become a pilot, every 2 years, you're going to have a review, which is going to include ground school, 1 hour of ground school, talking to a CFI. Basically it's ground school, but it's a review, and then an hour in the aircraft flying. Now, going back to learning, this is why you want to be so better. The better prepared you are, the better off you will be, and the more money you will save. You don't want to spend too much time in an aircraft, okay? Because an aircraft is not a classroom. It is a tool for you to learn how to fly. The classroom stuff is done on the ground. But now, some CFIs, they really don't want to spend all that time with you on the ground. They will, because they want to help you. They want you to learn. I've discovered that from these people are super awesome. They're nice. They understand, because they're just like you. They're geeks about aviation, and they love it, and they want to help you. They're not there to fail you or see you do bad or whatever, or, well, I don't care, if you learn, you learn. No, that's not their attitude. They want you to learn, and they want to teach you. A lot of schools have simulators where if you're in the aircraft and you're just not getting it, that happens. There's going to be subjects or things or maneuvers that they're trying to teach you that you're not getting. That's fine. Just like in school, when you go to school, you can't get some certain material or something like science or lab or chemistry, math. I mean, statistics show that at least five out of every 3 people are bad at math. Think about that one. Anyway, so when you're not good at a certain subject, you get tutors, right? So their way of the aviation way of tutoring is that they have a simulator. And they will let you use the simulator. Sometimes they won't charge you. Some schools don't charge you at all for using the simulator. Some of them will do it for like $10 an hour, but that's cheaper, because that way you can sit in the simulator with your CFI, so that time counts. And it's cheaper because you're only paying $10 an hour for that simulator. You're still paying for the CFI, but you're paying $10 an hour as opposed to $100 an hour for an aircraft, or $130 or whatever that may be. So that makes sense. Look for discounts. There's a lot of these schools that have, at least I've discovered in my area, they have accounts, deposit accounts, where if you deposit, like, for example, like the ones here, $5,000. You put $5,000 in an account, and that way they know that the money's there. They can continue, dinging you or taking the money out as they teach you, of course, as you take your lessons. And some of them even offer you, instead of a discount, it's kind of like they match. They'll put like 5%. So if you put $5,000, they'll give you $500. Actually, that's 10%. So they'll do 10%, 5%, whatever. The one that I checked here did have a 10% thing. So if you put 5,000, they'll put 500. So that's $500 free money that you didn't have. Okay, so that helps out. That's at least a couple of lessons right there. Also, if you're a veteran like me, I ask for military discounts everywhere I go. But when it comes to flight schools, I really didn't find anybody that did it. There was only one of them, and like I mentioned earlier, I had to actually put the guy on the spot. He probably didn't know. I mean, it's not his fault. He was like, I don't think so. And I was like, well, it's on the website. And he said, well, I guess we can give you $10 an hour off. And I'll take that. Any discount is good. Speaking of VA, that'll segue me into the financing part of this, which, check with the flight schools. If you're a veteran, let me get this out of the way. If you're a veteran, I forfeited my Montgomery GI Bill. I'd never used it. I took some IT courses back in the day for like an associate's, and they covered it, some of it, but it was from a different fund. So my GI Bill was there complete. I mean, this is $10,500 just sitting there, and they went to waste because they extended it for 5 years, for a total of 15 years that I could have used it, and I didn't use it, so it expired. But when I got into aviation again, I was trying to check and see if they would do it. Nope. The military will not pay for flight school. Not when it comes to your private pilot. They will not do it. I've already researched everywhere. They will not do it. I've spoken to the people in the schools, directors and such, that deal with the VA or deal with veterans. How they're, some of them have these things set up where it's like pulling teeth. It has nothing to do with the GI Bill though, because they won't do it. The GI Bill will only cover you and pay for your school if you go to a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, some kind of college. That's not what I'm looking for. You're looking for an aviation career and going all the way up to ATP, to be a commercial airline pilot, then go for it. If not, they're not going to pay for it, so don't even bother. Very important also, scholarships. There are a lot of scholarships out there, especially for people that are in high school still. If you're a young one and you're still in high school or just recently out of high school, go for it. Now that doesn't mean that everybody else is disqualified, because somebody like me can get one. Actually, one of the big ones right now is AOPA, which I highly suggest that you would become a member. I mean, they offer a 6-month free trial membership, which is well worth it. There's a lot of benefits there. And they will be giving away this year in 2020 a total of $1 million in scholarships. And that's for everybody of any age. It doesn't matter whether you're young, old, in school, out of school, college, no college, whatever, you can qualify for it. Okay, deadline is March 15th of this year, so I would say get on it. You need to apply to it yesterday. EAA also offers a membership. I'm not sure if they offer a trial free one, or check them out. Go check out their website. Google that. EAA, AOPA, and there's others. I mean, there's some that are women for flying, something like that. Don't quote me on that one. It doesn't mean that you have to be a woman to apply either. You can also apply for them. Just check them out. I will include some links in the description here, so you can go check all those scholarships out. And if you're in high school and you're thinking about aviation, check out those links that I'm going to share with you, and just make it a part-time job to sit there and apply for scholarships as often as you can, as many times as you can, because it's a numbers thing. Eventually you'll get some, and you never know, you might get a little bit here, a little bit there, and next thing you know, you get to go through flight school for free. So right now I'm going way too long on this, so I don't want to bore you to tears here. So I'm going to try to edit this and make it as short as possible. So I hope all of this helps you out. I really hope you go for it, whether you're young or old, especially if you're older like me. Man, I'm 53 and I'm going for it, man. Ain't no shame in that game, bro. Just go for it. Do it. So, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you get a lot out of it. I hope you learn. I hope you don't give up on your dreams. Go after it, man. Just remember that a dream without a goal is just a wish. However, wishing won't do it. Effort will. So, until the next time, love, peace, and chicken grease. God bless you. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week. And we'll catch you on the next one.